Hi, this is Steve Marchand. Good Wednesday afternoon. Just want to take a quick second. Got a ton of feedback from the latest Substack post I did about Joe Sweeney and an incredibly dumb set of comments that he made about international students attending New Hampshire's university system public schools. Got a ton of feedback, and there were a couple of quick points I wanted to add. Uh, One is somebody asked how many of the 177 international students as of this spring at the three universities, public schools, UNH, Plymouth State, and Keene State, how many of them were athletes? Well, I didn't have time to go through all the teams, but keep in mind 177 out of many, many thousands throughout the three schools in New Hampshire. And I found that seven of them were men on the men's hockey team. There were nine women's hockey team players from another country. And then another seven on the women's skiing team and another five on the men's skiing team. So just a quick check of the men's and women's hockey and ski teams produced 28 of the 177 international students. That's about 15%, actually a little more than that, of all of the students for all the years of undergrad are currently playing hockey or skiing on UNH's collegiate teams. A couple other points. So I guess Representative Sweeney finds them to be a real problem. Another point with the right to know law, which is what Representative Sweeney has been referencing when asking for this information from the university system's chancellor, Chancellor Provencher. One very well-respected attorney who commented at the story, you can see it at stevemarchand.com, noted that people are throwing around right to work law pretty loosey-goosey. The right to know law only really applies to two things. One, that public bodies shall meet in public. So you can't have a private meeting where a quorum of your local city council can have a meeting in private. If you have a quorum, that meeting has to be in public. And the second one is that state and local governments shall produce documents that are available either for viewing and or for copying, available documents. What Representative Sweeney was asking for was not copies of documents, but information. Basically acting as if one can just say right to know law and then demand on the drop of a hat the creation of certain information. I thought Chancellor Provencher was very quick to respond to Representative Sweeney's request, but as the attorney noted, she might have been well advised to say, while this is not something that falls under the right to know laws, I will provide this for you. But please, in the future, keep in mind it's for public meetings, having to be public officials meeting, having to do it in public, and it's for existing state and local public documents being readily available either for viewing and or copying. And this does not fall under either of these. The right to know law has been used and is frequently abused to try to make it fit a number of other things. And this may have been one of those examples. One last thing I want to note, dealing with motive. That was a major part of what I introduced and ended my piece yesterday about. And some folks were wondering whether or not it was being a little too polite or weak to focus not on the motives behind Representative Sweeney's rather dubious statements, but just on the facts of the matter. And here's what I'd say. Both matter. Facts matter. We need to lay them out in a place that can be easily digested, repeated, shared. That was one of the primary points of my piece yesterday. Please feel free to get on stevemarchand.com to read the story and then to share that. But the other part is, look, campaigns are stories. We tell stories in campaigns. I've run campaigns, I've run for office, I've held office. And the reality is that most voters do not learn via the spreadsheet. They learn via allegory, via story. And stories involve heroes and villains, contrast, choices. Politics are, at the end of the day, about people. And so there is definitely a place for Representative Sweeney or any other elected official or candidate to ascribe some kind of motive. And it doesn't take a sleuth to kind of figure out where he's going with this, especially given that the same day that WMUR did a story on this, he was, through his political action committee, Granite Solutions, already running ads on social media. Nothing wrong with that at all. Totally get it. But clearly, this is part of a feedback loop that we see. It is hard to break through in this attention economy, especially in a place like New Hampshire, where it's very difficult to break through on a story. It has to be sexy, it has to be interesting, and you really have to push it oftentimes. And Representative Sweeney, who is very skilled, and I note that, is doing that with this story because it is salacious and it does get attention. And now he is doing that to promote it further, which will keep the wheel spinning faster and faster and make it easier for him to now try to move this one step over and now ask kind of the Fox News version of the question. I'm not asking, I'm just asking, are these illegals? Are these people that are here illegally in New Hampshire and now that are going to our state universities? And are they getting money from the public? Are they eating from the public trough? These illegals in New Hampshire. It starts with the facts. It does not end with the facts. It then goes to telling the story because this is a choice in 2026 and beyond. And it's really important that our leaders, the folks that would lead our state, are able to be truthful, use real information. There's plenty of questions that one can ask about higher education. Are they moving nimbly enough in terms of moving from a growing administrative element to their cost? Are they using technology to the fullest? There are a lot of pressures to bring costs down in higher education, and the university system of New Hampshire faces the same pressures as anybody else. Demographic changes, like I mentioned in the story, all of these things. These are legitimate questions that people of all political persuasions need to be asking. No criticism there. The criticism is to demagogue international students to make it sound like the 16 kids at Plymouth State University who did not get admitted, the in-state applicants, 16, that's that's three quarters of 1% of all in-state students who applied to Plymouth State University did not get admitted. That is 16 students. And the idea that the 45 international students a year, of which 15% of them are on the UNH hockey or skiing team, the idea that these are the folks that are keeping out what would otherwise be the less than 1% least academically qualified in-state students from Plymouth State, similar numbers at Keene State, at UNH, is just silly. And it's important to call that out. We'll get to motive in due time, but the facts are egregious, and it was important to get those out. Check it out, stevemarchand.com, and we'll be back with some more online material in the next day or so. Thank you.